Hey everybody, it's John here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in King's Quest Episode 4, grabbing the Road Trip Warrior achievement. This is to win the road trip game you play with your family. This is after you pack all their bags and head on in the caravan off to your vacation. So this is basically a memory game. What you are going to do is you're going to say something, and then the next person is going to add to it, and you're supposed to remember what they said. And you just keep going around in a circle and you try to remember everything in order. My best advice is to write everything down, obviously, but if not, there's a couple of tips I have. The thing is totally random, so you can't really use a guide for this per se, but it's basically going to go, you're going to say something, and then Alex is going to say cat cookie, always as the second one. Then your daughter is going to say something else, and then Vanelise is going to say something, and then you get to say something, and then on the next round Alex and Vanelise will get eliminated, so you don't have to remember their second item, but your daughter will stay in an extra 2 rounds. So remember that order, and you can kind of get a hint of where the story is going. But if this is your first time through, that might actually be a little difficult because you don't know what the characters are going to say necessarily. So once again, recommend writing this down on a piece of paper or something like that, and you should be good. And I was able to do this all 3 times. The first time I needed a piece of paper, second time I was able to get it off of memory, and same with the third time. Obviously played this 3 times for all 3 different versions of the game, the 2 versions on 360 and the 1 on Xbox One, and I can assure you that they are all different, so you can't have a definitive answer chart. But a couple of things that don't change are obviously the order of people getting eliminated, as well as Alexander's first choice, which is always going to be cat cookie, because he's going to explain what that is, and that may or may not come into the story later. Once again, trying to avoid spoilers. Keep in mind, you actually do have to go up to 8 answers in order to get the achievement. It's the same every time, but even if you mess up, the game gives you a second chance of doing this. But if you mess up a second time, then your character falls asleep and you just miss the achievement. And missing an achievement in this game is pretty rough because there's no chapter select for the individual episodes, which always sucks if you miss a missable achievement. But this is fairly early on in the game. Once again, it's right as you leave for your vacation, and thankfully not after, because this episode has a ton of puzzles in it, which really sucks, and we'll get to those later because there's a handful of achievements that involve those. But anyways, we are making good right now on the stuff. As you can see, we did this one all off of memory, so just take your time, write stuff down. You can abbreviate it if you want, if that helps you, but having the notes really helps out. That's a surefire way of getting this achievement. So have a pen and paper handy, have your notes app on your phone handy, or your favorite word processor on your computer. But whatever the case, make sure you knock this one out of the way, because this is one of the more annoying achievements in this episode. And I'm leaving all of this in just so you can kind of have an example of what the characters are going to say. But this whole ordeal takes about 4.5 minutes or so in order to get to the last round, which, you know, sucks. But once your daughter eliminates herself, you should be good. You should break Graham's record, and most importantly, you should get the achievement. There it is, 20 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.